if you can recycle and refurbish the assets that you have, there are a lot of modular gadgets at home. For example, our laptops or personal computers. If one of the component goes off, you can just fix that particular component, refurbish and give it back to charity. You can give it back to schools. You can give it back to educational institutions. It's very alarming to know that the government schools right now largely run on technology. Most of their attendance and the syllabus is, most of that is computerized. But one of the government school teachers was telling us that even the headmaster doesn't have one computer. So if we can give back all these assets, every mandal has at least 20 to 30 schools depending on the region. So if at least the headmaster gets one computer, it does a large good to the school. So definitely refurbished assets bring in a lot of help to the underprivileged classes.
First question is from Mr. Shmel.
Okay, thank you. I want firstly a very interesting presentation, and I want to ask next question. How, according to your opinion, recycle and reusing e-waste can support improvement well-being of poor and low-income groups of population?
I guess you wanted to understand how recycling can help the underprivileged class of the population, right, sir?
Yeah, of course. This question.
So, as ma'am just said, if you can recycle and refurbish the assets that you have, there are a lot of modular gadgets at home. For example, our laptops or personal computers. If one of the component goes off, you can just fix that particular component, refurbish and give it back to charity. You can give it back to schools. You can give it back to educational institutions. It's very alarming to know that the government schools right now largely run on technology. Most of their attendance and the syllabus is, most of that is computerized. But one of the government school teachers was telling us that even the headmaster doesn't have one computer. So if we can give back all these assets, every mandal has at least 20 to 30 schools depending on the region. I am quoting Telangana. So if at least the headmaster gets one computer, it does a large good to the school. So definitely refurbished assets bring in a lot of help to the underprivileged classes. I hope it answers your question, sir.
Yeah, this answered my question. Thank you very much.
So coming over to the next question, Prasad Surupaneni. Do you feel that the Electronic Waste Management Act 2003, which is declared a law comprehensive, does it address the procedural issues of disposal, the dangers of the hazardous waste, leaching into groundwater soil, and sufficient deterrent, penal action? What about the disorganized sector, where lakhs of illiterate children are exposed to hazards while collecting and segregating?
Well, that was a very lengthy question, but I understand where you're coming from. See, we have progressed from e-waste management rules 2011 to 2016, 2018, and now 2022. So what have we done in this? The recent act says all the recyclers, manufacturers, producers are required to register with CPCB, because the one most important reason is that it will legalize the recyclers and it will also bring better formal recycling practices. So it will also, there is penalties, right from fines, it will even lead to imprisonment. If you think a recycler can follow, is registered with CPCB, he will definitely follow all the scientific methods of extraction and hence reduce the environmental impact. So it is expected that the electronic waste rules of 2022 largely help formalize the sector, because right now 85% of recycling in India is happening in the informal sector. And this policy as such is aimed at formalizing the sector. Also, there are clauses like extended producer responsibility, and there are recycling targets given for every producer manufacturer. And it is not enough if he just sells an electronic product. The producer himself is responsible for the end of the life of that particular product. So all these issues will definitely help in streamlining the e-waste process, rather e-waste recycling practices in India. So in future, for any law, the devil lies in its implementation. If the law is implemented as per the stipulations, it will definitely bring a lot of formalization in the sector, and the kind of hazards that we are seeing will definitely go down.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question. When you said CP, can you give us the full form of it?
Yeah, CPCB stands for Central Pollution Control Board.
Okay. Mr. A.N. Chavan's question, how to become registered recycler in Pune?
If you want to start a unit, there is a portal that is started by the government of India. You can Google. You have to register yourself in that portal. It has a lot of guidelines on how to do it and how you can do it, where this unit has to be placed, and the volume of waste that your unit can handle. There are a lot of other things.
Lavanya has asked the question, how e-waste can help support underprivileged?
Yeah, in many ways. If you want to give away your mobile phone, it will help someone with communication and network. And if you have a used laptop, it can help them in their educational needs, in their professional needs, in their vocational training. For someone who is in a remote place and who cannot travel to city regularly but want to take coaching classes, be it skill development, anything. I mean, technology is magical, so it depends on how you use it and what kind of gadget you're giving it to the underprivileged. Depending on his need, it will definitely help them.
Okay, this is from Lavanya again. With an increase in the usage of technical gadgets, there should be a mandate to retire the gadgets as per their aging. What do you think of that? I thought we said the opposite, that the longevity of the product should be increased by the manufacturer.
Yes.
But like they're saying, let's dispose the cars after a year or two or a few years in Delhi. What is your take on this?
See, if you optimally use a gadget, for example, old phones are said that the radiation levels are pretty high from old used gadgets, especially mobile phones. So if you think it is producing more harm, see, at the end of the day, a longevity of the product has to be increased as long as it helps you, as long as it supports you in whatever you do. But if you think it is not doing the right thing, you can definitely hand it over to a recycler who will look at the gadget and say, if this particular component is replaced, the radiation will come down and the life is increased. Or say he says it cannot do its productive thing anymore, he will recycle it, he will dismantle it, extract whatever has to be extracted. See, the first option is definitely refurbish. If refurbish is not happening, they will recycle it.
So this is from Mr. Nehru. Does all the parts of the electronics are recycled and reused? And how e-waste management can be increased in India? Two different questions.
Well, most of the precious metals can be extracted. If you extract scientifically using the scientific processes, see, right now, most of the recycling plants have robotic machinery that will help extract metals very efficiently. So it is said that 85 to 90% of metals can be recovered originally. Sorry, what's your second question?
How e-waste management can be increased in India?
See, India is made up of people like you and me. So if you think we can handle e-waste better, we have to, firstly, we should be willing to give away all the e-waste that is languishing in our homes, which is no more in use. A lot of precious items can be extracted and it can be put back into the circular economy. And the pressure on resources also comes down. So if you and I can take simple steps like this, register with a recycler and give our e-waste to that particular recycler, we are definitely doing our bit in handling the e-waste in the country.
For someone who I thought I was educated, and I myself, I never hoard. I give away all the e-waste, but I didn't know what was the right way to give away. Thanks to you, ma'am, I'm going to follow what you suggested.